You're disgusting and so shallow and so vain and truly the worst person I've ever met. How are you, my mom? Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I'm standing today, so I think you could see like a little bit more of my bookshelf above me. Also, I've been using markers as pointers for a couple videos. No one's commented on it. I thought someone was gonna make fun of me. Thank you for not. You have my permission now, because I'm not gonna buy a pointer, but I realized that if I have something in my hand while I was filming the Once Upon a Time videos to like control where I'm pointing, I do better. I don't know why. It's gotta be the ADHD. Something about this works. I did see the Barbie movie. It did make me cry. So if you haven't seen it yet, prepare yourself. Also, I do have some book content coming that I thought I could go ahead and we could just talk about it a little bit so you guys know that it's on its way, hopefully before the end of August. I would love to have both these videos out. We're just gonna see. I got a request to do a review from an author who has a new work out, and that is coming. I'm really excited about that. And then I am also working on, I'm like currently scripting and getting it ready. I'm gonna be doing a Throne of Glass walkthrough because Carrie Can Read has done ACOTAR and Crescent City in preparation for Crescent City 3. And as far as I know, right now, she's not announced that she's doing Throne of Glass. So I was like, I'm gonna do Throne of Glass. And then that way they're out there. There's a set for everybody. So today we are continuing on talking about season 5 of The Vampire Diaries. I am both excited and so annoyed for what I have to tell you guys today. If you're enjoying this series and you're not already subscribed, don't forget to do so. I have a new watermark that I think lives here. So subscribe if you're not already. And without further ado, let's get into more season 5 of The Vampire Diaries. So we left Damon last week in a cell alone. Elena has been taken from him. We open with our boy punching the wall, trying to chip off part of the stone. He does it. It's so hot. He's just like punching it and punching it and punching it. He breaks off a little bit. He tries to break the lock open on the door. He ends up reaching out through the bars and like grabbing the bullet, because when Aaron tried to shoot him in the last episode, he fumbled and dropped some stuff. And so there's a bullet on the ground. Damon gets it, he puts it in the lock, and then he like sparks the bullet so that it goes off in the lock, trying to like explode the door. That doesn't work. So he just starts kicking it. He gets out. Moral of the story. We cut to Catherine waking up in bed with Stefan, the king of poor decision making. Catherine is as equally surprised as we are that she didn't hallucinate the night before. So she is all excited and she's like cozying up to him to like wake him up when she realizes that her hair is falling out. So she panics and like wraps herself in a blanket and goes to like run out of the room. Stefan wakes up and he's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? And she's like, don't look at me, I'm fine. And she's like fumbling all around. She runs into the doorway and then she just like runs out the door and down the stairs. And Stefan's just like, okay, bye. On her way out, she runs into a very banged up and angry Damon who is like, I don't care at all that you hooked up with Stefan, other than, ew, that's disgusting. I can't believe he stooped that low. Where's Elena? Catherine is like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen her. So Damon's just kind of like, okay, you're useless. Thank you so much. Please get out of my house. Stefan, wake up! And then the boys reconvene because they need to go find Elena quickly. If you'll remember, Elena is in that secret room. We don't know exactly where she's gone or where she's been taken. It kind of just looks like a basement. She is still trapped on that table though. When she wakes up, she hears like a little girl laughing, and it's almost like she's having like a memory flashback, but she's not sure if she's dreaming. Maxfield is there and he's doing like basically like vampire dialysis on her. So she's losing blood and she's in and out of consciousness, and then he ends up knocking her out after he says, does this room look familiar, Elena? And then he's like, count to 10, and he knocks her out. The boys are teamed up now, and they decide they're gonna go to Aaron and use him as leverage against Maxfield, since those two are like basically family and Maxfield like looks after him. So they get to Aaron. Aaron is like, I have no idea where Elena could be. I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't take her. I don't know where he took her. And Damon's like, well, Either I kill you, or you call him and you warn him I'm gonna kill you and he'll tell us where she is. There's so much blood in this episode, guys. I truly hate it, okay? I personally pass out when I get my blood drawn. I think we've talked about that before. So this episode in particular, it's just icky. I don't like it. While Maxfield is working on Elena, he starts reading to her from like a journal that's from one of the Augustine doctors, and it's about like how the doctor was torturing the different patients. So he was saying like, oh, I subjected it to like all of this electrical shock and its heartbeat stayed around, so I did even more the next day and it stayed alive. So it's just like the vampire torture. And then it turns out that the book he's reading from is her dad's journal. This is when Elena realizes that they're not just in any basement, they're in the basement of her dad's old office in Mystic Falls. Aaron calls and is like, hey, the boys are here and they're gonna kill me if you don't give them Elena. And Maxfield is just like, okay, fine. Tell them we can do a trade. Meet me at my classroom in an hour, I'll be there. But then Maxfield goes back inside, and instead of getting Elena ready for transport, he wakes up our boy Enzo, and he's like, you and Damon have some unfinished business. And then he injects Enzo with a poison, and he's like, if you don't come back in time, you won't be able to get the antidote and you'll die. So this is insurance that'll make sure you come back to me. And Enzo's like, okay, as long as I get the day out. So Enzo is about to have a play date with Damon, except Damon was not warned. We cut to Catherine, who left the boys' house like in workout gear with a hat to cover up her hair. She is now in the woods training with poor Matt. He got roped into this. She's just getting sicker and sicker as the like aging progresses. So at this point, she is like hardcore dying. Like she's an old woman in the like young 20-something-year-old body. Nadia shows up with that S-word note that Catherine left in the grill for her. And it turns out Stefan gave it to Nadia and was like, don't worry, I'm gonna go stop your mom from doing this, but I thought you should know this was her plan. So Nadia is pissed. She's like, if you don't stop trying to leave me without saying goodbye, like what is wrong with you? You're such a terrible mom. And Catherine's just like, I know, I've been trying to tell you I'm the worst. The girls end up talking a little bit more without Matt, and Catherine says that she actually changed her mind and a certain person has made her reconsider living. So Nadia is all like, oh my God, Mom, because she thinks that Catherine means her. But of course, Catherine's talking about Stefan. Catherine asks Nadia if she thinks she could ever be forgiven, even though she's done all these horrible things. Nadia, thinking that Catherine is talking about her and her forgiveness, is like, oh my God, yes. And I actually think I know of a way to save you. Elena is having a lot of memory flashbacks now of being a little girl and being told that she wasn't allowed in this part of the basement, because it's basically like, you come down the stairs from the doctor's office up above, and then there's like a little like mudroom, like small little area, and then there's a door to the rest of the basement. So he had this like secret lab basically down there underneath his office that nobody was allowed into. So she remembers hearing people like screaming in that room, and her dad being like, oh, it's okay, you know, no kids are allowed down here, right? Like daddy's doing work in the office. And she just believed it because she was like a 5-year-old. She also finds out that he sent Enzo after Damon, and she starts freaking out, but she can't get up because she's strapped to that table and her blood's being taken. This is like the 4th or 5th time this has happened to Elena. Like, somebody get her off dialysis. She doesn't need to be hooked up to this machine ever again. The boys get to the classroom and Enzo is there. He's waiting for Damon and he is pissed, like so angry. Damon is just shocked and confused because remember, this whole time Damon just assumed that Enzo died in the fire and he would never see him again. But they were friends. They were such good friends that in order for Damon to leave him behind, he had to turn off his humanity. So seeing him again, it's like a shock and a relief, and also he's kind of excited. So Enzo starts telling the boys his life story. He basically like villain monologues because he's gone a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in like the decades that he's been stuck with the Augustines. So he's definitely having that moment where he's just like, I've been waiting so long to see you again, Damon. Let me tell you what happened to me. And he's just giving them his whole speech. Stefan somehow gets out of the room for a few minutes and calls Maxfield and is like, what is wrong with you? I will kill Aaron. Bring me Elena. It becomes clear to everyone, including poor Aaron, that Maxfield is totally willing to let him die if it means that he can continue his work, and so keeping Elena and hurting the vampires is more important to him than saving Aaron's life. We find out Enzo's point of view for the night of the party, which is that he was trapped in that cage, freaking out about the fire and being left behind, and then Damon all of a sudden is looking at him like he's never seen him before. So they built this like amazing like brotherhood friendship, and then Damon was just like, screw you dude, I'm leaving, and just left him there to die. So it like broke Enzo's trust, it ruined like his sense of self and their friendship, and he was like, I'll never be close to anyone ever again. In that moment, we realized that Enzo is so angry because he had not realized that Damon dropped his humanity, and he just thought, oh, Damon was lying the whole time and he just left me there. Like he was never planning on actually helping me. It was never that important. He just wanted to get out. Maxfield starts phase 2 with Elena, but obviously he won't tell her what it means. We also find out in this chunk of time with Elena and Maxfield that Enzo killed Megan, and Megan was curious about Augustine because she'd been a patient of Elena's dad when she was a little girl, and he had healed her with vampire blood, because that's what they're working towards. The whole point is that they want to know how they can take the vampires and the vampire blood and implement it into like human medical gain. Like, can they keep people alive forever? Can they heal cancer? You know, what can they do with the vampire blood? So they fixed Megan. And then she ended up going to Whitmore and getting too curious and investigating. And she found Enzo in his cell and got too close to him. And because he's a hungry boy, he bit her, and then she ran away and she died. Stefan takes Aaron to get the files that he took from Maxfield, which are like in his dorm room. And he's like, maybe there's stuff on there about Elena. I remember seeing like her dad mentioned, so maybe you can find something there that's useful. But Enzo was like, I am keeping Damon with me. So Damon stays behind to like keep listening to Enzo talk about his past. Nadia's big plan is that she figured out that Catherine didn't just know about the travelers. No. Catherine and Catherine's family were travelers. So there's like witch traveler blood in Catherine. So in theory, if they find a willing traveler to teach Catherine the body switching spell, they can do that. Catherine's not about the plan because she's like, Nadia, I hear you. I love that you're trying to find a way to save me. But Stefan actually likes this body, okay? So you can't just put me in someone else. Like, what if he doesn't like the next body that I'm in? And Nadia is like, do you hear yourself? You're disgusting and so shallow and so vain and truly the worst person I've ever met. How are you, my mom? Enzo starts getting drunk because he stole booze from somewhere on campus, and he starts asking Damon all of these questions about like the new modern world because this is the first time he's been out in like 50 years. We find out that the poison Enzo was injected with will stop his heart and make him desiccate if he doesn't get back in time. So he starts having like palpitations and getting kind of like stumbly while he's fighting with Damon. So Damon is like, perfect, you need to go back for the antidote, I need to go back for Elena, let's go back together, we'll freaking kill Maxfield as a team, and then you're free. There's no rule that says you have to go back alone, like I can come with you and I'll help you. Enzo, obviously, is a little broken and he doesn't have any trust anymore, so he turns on Damon and they get into a fight. Damon refuses to fight him, so he ends up just like catching his punches and like keeping him from hurting either of them too badly. Enzo does end up desiccating. Damon just grabs him and like holds him as he falls down to the ground. And he's like, where's Elena? Just tell me where Elena is. But Enzo's like last act of revenge is like not telling Damon so that hopefully like Elena will be killed and Damon will be sad. Aaron tries to lie to Stefan and like goes for a weapon. So Stefan grabs him and is like, are you insane? I will kill you right now. I don't feel bad about it. And Aaron is like, go ahead. Like, I'm already gonna die one day. Damon's planning on killing me. This is when Aaron tells Stefan, like, Damon's been killing my family for generations, okay? Like, I'm already screwed, so it doesn't matter if you kill me now or not. I'm gonna die at some point. Stefan is like, not all vampires are like that, and he goes to leave. So when Aaron realizes that Stefan is a good guy, he gives him the files, and that's gonna help Stefan find Elena. Elena wakes up, and Maxfield at this point is like, all right, you're all ready. It's time for you to be completed. And he is basically planning on turning her into one of the Jessie vampires, so she will crave vampire blood instead of human blood. And she will be a ripper, like she won't be able to stop once she starts biting a vampire. Right as he's about to inject her, Stefan shows up and saves her, so they knock Maxfield out. They don't kill him, which is so stupid to me. Like, that is a loose end. Kill that man, he's evil. They end up leaving Maxfield and the injection and all that venom that will turn them into rippers. They leave that behind, and Elena just takes the journal that was her dad's. Nadia is waiting for Matt outside the grill when he gets off work, and at first she kind of tries to flirt with him and like make it sexual, and Matt's just like, I'm really not about it. Like, I would like to leave me and you in the past. I don't want anything from you like that anymore. And she's like, okay, noted. I need you to take the traveler knife and I need you to keep it safe for me because I'm leaving and I just want to make sure that Catherine has access to it when she inevitably wants it. Matt agrees because he knows what it's like to have a mom that sucks. So he's like, why not? I'll help you. I don't mind. Enzo wakes up in Maxfield's lab on campus, but he's not with Maxfield. Damon brought him there and injected him with all the different antidote vials, and one of them worked, and so Enzo's fine. Enzo runs at him to attack him, and Damon like stops him by grabbing him by the heart, and he's like, dude, the only reason why I left you was because I turned my humanity off. Like, I was so worried about you and I cared about you so much that the only way I was able to save myself was by turning off my emotions and flipping the switch and leaving you behind. And I'm so sorry, okay? Like, I wish I could change it, but I can't. It's a very emotional scene, and Damon is kind of like... Damon kind of goes all like, give you cookie, give me cookie, Schmidt. Like that scene from New Girl where he's just like, we're even now, Enzo, okay? Can we just be even? And Enzo is having none of it. He says that Damon was the most important person in his life and Damon ruined him. But that's just because Damon was being himself. He's a monster and that's all he'll always be. I'm just gonna say it because we're all thinking it, okay? This was a missed opportunity, all right? We could have had something here. There could have been something here and we missed out on it. It's fine, but I'm just saying. Back at the Salvatore house, Elena is reading her dad's journal, trying to like make sense of the two versions of her dad. Damon takes this opportunity to be a little emo and say, you know, if you can't figure out how to defend your dad, you really shouldn't be able to figure out how to defend me because I'm pretty bad too, you know? Like, we both make horrible choices. I don't think you should defend us anymore. And Elena is like, I wasn't. Like, I don't like what you've done to Aaron. I think it's terrible. Damon just kind of explodes and he's like, then why are you here? I'm bad, Elena. I'm the bad guy. I do bad things. You should have run away a long time ago. Why are you here? She's like, because I love you. I chose you and I stand by my choice. This man says, okay, well, I'm choosing to let you go. When she's obviously just like, I would rather you didn't. That's really stupid. He's like, no, it's the right thing to do. He says that he's done making her defend him for his past, and he's done like having her worry about some new awful thing popping up, like how she didn't know that he'd killed Aaron's aunt right when they started dating. She gets really upset because she's like, Damon, I'm not perfect either. Like, what are you talking about? I've also done pretty terrible things. Everybody always puts Elena on like such a tall pedestal and they're like, Elena, you're supposed to be perfect. You're not allowed to mess up because you're the good one in the group. It is untrue. She has done some pretty bad things for her own gain or like her loved one's gain. So we've said it before, we'll say it again. Everybody lives in a pretty morally gray area in this show, okay? You're either a good guy or a bad guy, and if you're a good guy, you're gonna like justify your decisions, and if you're a bad guy, you're gonna justify your decisions. Like, we can go both ways with it. So this fight is really pointless and stupid, but Damon refuses to see reason or be an adult, and he says that he can't change himself, but he refuses to change her, so he's leaving so that she can stay good and pure and he can stay evil and crazy. It's almost like Ian is telling us, he's trash. He's a trash gremlin. Let him go. And we're all just like, no! We cut to Catherine freaking out about her wrinkles. She wants to talk to Stefan about the night before, and he basically is like, we had a moment. Like, we had a really long day, and then we got caught up in the moment, and things happened, but they won't be happening again. And Catherine is like, what? She is like, dude, I'm dying, and I need you to forgive me. And he's like, I can't undo 160 some years in a night. She realizes that he's never gonna look at her the way he looks at Elena, so she goes to leave and he catches her hand and he's like, I'm sorry that you're dying. And she's like, believe me, so am I. And they part ways. Aaron finds Maxfield and Maxfield tries to apologize, but Aaron is having absolutely none of it, as he should. And he basically is just like, fuck off out of my life. I don't want anything to do with you. You sold me out. You don't actually care about me. I'm done worrying about you. Do not contact me ever again. Elena burns her dad's journal. Catherine calls Nadia and agrees to do the body switching spell if Nadia can find a traveler that will help her, because she realizes that Stefan thinks that she could be saved and forgiven, so she's like willing to try. But then Catherine Pierce has a freaking heart attack and passes out and falls down the stairs. During the recap of episode 11, we see Tyler. So our boy's coming back in this episode. That's all I'm going to tell you, because if you were watching it with me, you would know. So you deserve to know right now. We get a flashback of Catherine in Bulgaria the day that Nadia was born, like realizing that Nadia is coming, but it's actually Catherine having like end of life flashbacks because she is in the hospital being shocked back to life with like the compression clamp situation. They get her back and she is technically alive, but Stefan tells Nadia that her organs are like shutting down one by one and she's probably not going to make it through the next 24 hours. So Damon broke up with Elena and now she's at school being all pouty and sad. The girls show up and Bonnie is definitely more upset than Caroline. Caroline like brought champagne and is like ready to celebrate Damon being out of Elena's life finally. Bonnie is kind of just confused that Elena is not fighting for him more. Damon is also like absolutely wrecked. Matt and Jeremy come into the grill to open for the day and they find Damon passed out at the bar. They both think he's an absolute idiot for spending years pining after Elena and then dumping her the second things get a little difficult. Stefan calls everybody together to be like, Catherine is dying, and they all come home. Damon, Matt, and Jeremy get there first because they were actually in Mystic Falls already, and they start playing a drinking game where they just take shots while they talk shit on all the bad things Catherine did. The girls show up, and it's awkward, okay? Damon and Elena are together, awkward. But Elena is like, if anybody's gonna drink to her, it's gonna be me. She ruined my life the most, which is not entirely true. I mean, what she did to Damon and Stefan was like really bad, let alone Elijah and Nadia. Like, she's ruined a lot of people's lives. She quite literally killed Caroline, but sure, Elena, you win. She did kill your brother. Elena is also like, even though she's sad, she's weirdly very chill about the Damon breakup because it's pretty clear that she doesn't think they're gonna stay broken up. Like, basically Damon throws tantrums and she knew that when she started dating him, so he's throwing a tantrum. He will realize he was wrong. He will come back to her. She's just gonna wait it out. Stefan is on Catherine duty, so he's babysitting her. She knows that everybody's downstairs talking about her, and he's just like, they're just reminiscing. And she's like, yeah, I deserve it. I'm the worst. And he's like, you are kind of the worst, but you're dying, so I'm being nice to you and holding your hand and patting your hair. Matt goes down to the cellar to get more alcohol, and Nadia shows up and knocks him out. Stefan gets all high and mighty. He like comes downstairs and he's like, you guys should grow up, okay? She's dying. Like, yes, she did horrible things to me and everyone in this room, but also she's just a little girl and she was hurt and she lashed out and now she's dying, so we should be nice to her. And Damon's like, oh, okay. You think that because you slept with her last night? And the whole room is like, you did what now? And Stefan's just like, thank you, brother, for sharing that with the class. Nadia shows up, thankfully, before it can break out into a fist fight because everybody's pretty horrified about the idea of Stefan and Catherine back together. And they're all pretty mad at Caroline for not telling them that that happened because remember, she knew and she was on the phone with Elena when it happened. But yeah, anyway, Nadia is like, I found a way to save my mom and you're all gonna help me. And a few of them are like, you're Catherine's daughter? So this is the episode where all the secrets come to light, okay? Nadia is like, yes, I'm Catherine's daughter and I'm gonna save my mom. And also I kidnapped Matt. I locked him in the safe that Stefan drowned in all summer and I buried it somewhere on the property. So if you don't help me, Matt's gonna die. Obviously, Stefan and Elena volunteer to help, so Nadia takes them with her to meet with the Traveler Witch. She wants to do the body switching spell and put Catherine inside herself. Caroline, Jeremy, and Bonnie go outside to start looking for Matt, and it comes out that Jeremy and Bonnie like actually hooked up for real. And Caroline is like, oh my God, why does no one tell me anything? Why haven't any of us been talking? Because it has been several episodes where so much has happened and yet none of them have talked about it. It's just been like one person finds out, two people find out, maybe they tell one more person, but the whole gang's been separated and missing big chunks of time. Caroline also expresses that she's pretty upset that she's not having any scandalous sex with anyone. Where is her random hookup? Why isn't she having fun at college? What's going on, universe? Get Caroline a man. We get some more of Catherine's flashbacks. We see specifically the scene where like her family was murdered in Bulgaria, except actually it's Damon reliving the memories with her. So he's sitting at her bedside, like watching all this stuff and like enjoying the sadness. She starts crying and we zoom out of her mind to see Damon like lifting a pillow and like maniacally smiling as he goes to smother her at her bed. And Liz is there and she comes in and is like, Damon, don't murder her. If you murder her, then I have to arrest you. And there's all this paperwork we have to fill out, okay? She's dying, just let it go. She says that Catherine has way too much power over him. Like she is literally a poor, defenseless, dying human. Just let her go and move on. And Damon's just struggling with that because he wants to be the one to end her because he thinks that all the bad things in him and all the bad things in his life circle back to Catherine. Caroline runs into Klaus in the woods. Nadia brings Elena and Stefan to a random, basically empty, abandoned house. It's very clearly a trap. She's like, sorry, they wanted travelers, and she runs away, and all these travelers come out of the house and kidnap Elena and Stefan. Let's rewind and go back to the woods. Klaus showed up because he came to like gloat over Catherine's body and be like, haha, stupid human, you're dying and I'm staying alive. But also he wanted to see Caroline since Caroline and Tyler broke up. So he's like, how you doing? Things good? How you been? And Caroline's just like, you're disgusting. Okay, you're no better than Tyler. I can't believe you're here. Like, what, she's a dying human and you're gonna make fun of her for that? Like, grow up, Klaus. Don't you have anything better to do? At first he chases her, but then she keeps running off and he just lets her go. The reason why Liz is at the Salvatore house is because she brought medicine to help with Catherine so that she can kind of pass away comfortably. But Catherine doesn't want it because whenever she takes it, it makes her weak and then Damon can get into her head. She ends up being mean to Damon though, like an idiot, so he injects her anyway and she goes back to sleep and we go back into her memories. We see her in the carriage with Emily in the 1800s coming to Mystic Falls and we learn like why she stayed. They were actually like going to the Lockwood mansion, remember the Moonstone situation, all of that. That's why she was coming to Mystic Falls. But then she saw Stefan on the side of the road and she was like immediately smitten with him. She was like, I need to go meet that man. Like, I have to be with him. Do you think his family would help a poor orphan girl from Atlanta? Like, I need to stay with them. And Emily was kind of just like, okay, like whatever you want to do. So then in the like real world, Catherine comes out of the memory and tells Damon, like, that's what actually happened. The only reason why I stayed in Mystic Falls as long as I did was because of Stefan. I knew I was supposed to be with him. It was fate. I knew that was who I was supposed to be in love with. And Damon is like, awesome, wonderful. Why did you sleep with me? Why couldn't you have just left me alone? What the heck? And you know, he's so right for that, okay? Like, girl, I get it. They're both cute. But if you're madly in love with this one, leave this one alone. Leave him alone. Why did you have to mess with him? What was the point? Elena and Stefan are trapped in a ritual with the travelers. They get their arms cut and the travelers start taking their blood and the wounds are not healing. So they're both kind of just like nervous. They're like, y'all want our blood? Okay, you're taking our blood. Okay, because everybody's speaking Czech and no one will tell them what they're doing. Klaus pops back up with Catherine and he's like, listen, if I abandon my revenge with Catherine, will you give me the same choice you gave Tyler? Meaning basically like, if I let the revenge go, can we date? me and you, we could maybe date a little bit. That could maybe be nice. And Caroline is like, you're ridiculous. I'm literally looking for my best friend right now. Matt is somewhere in the woods. And Klaus is like, oh, I actually found him. Yeah, you were popping off in the wrong directions, and I found him a while ago. Don't worry. He's gonna love who I sent to rescue him. We cut to Matt being let out of the safe, and yes, you guessed correctly. Our girl Rebecca is here for this moment specifically. What did they have to pay her to get her to come back for one scene? She literally says like, I leave for a couple weeks and this is the kind of trouble you get in. And then they smile at each other. This picture that I always use of Matt, it's from this scene, fun fact. Damon starts torturing Catherine with hallucinations of Jenna and John, so they come back also, and they start like hurting her in the same ways that she hurt them. But then we hear, enough! It's our boy! It's our boy! He's here! Ah! She's so happy to see him. She's like, Elijah, you came for me. And she like reaches out and like holds his face, and he's like, Katerina, and like sitting on the edge of her bed. And then in like such a cool little moment of special effects, it like morphs from Elijah to Damon, and it's Damon, and he's like, ha! You idiot, you thought somebody would come to you? No, it's just me. But Nadia pops up and is like, I actually care about her. Screw you. She breaks Damon's neck, and then she's there with a traveler to do the spell with Catherine. Elena and Stefan are still bleeding. They have a weird heart-to-heart in this scene where he ends up saying like, I don't hate Catherine, like she did a lot of messed up things, but we've all done messed up things, blah blah blah. Speaking of, you know, my brother made a mistake when he broke up with you. You make him a better person, and I think you guys should stay together. And she's like, that is so weird to hear you say that. And he's like, I know, but I'm telling the truth, you're better together. You guys do make sense. All of a sudden, the ritual stops, the travelers disappear, their wounds heal, and they're free to go. Catherine is refusing to do the spell to put herself in Nadia's body. After all of this, she's still refusing. So Nadia's pissed, and Catherine is like, up, be quiet, let me speak. And she's like dying, so she's like, Nadia, like gasping for breath and things. But she tells her that she's so sorry that she let Nadia be taken when Nadia was a baby, and that not getting her back was like her biggest mistake and her biggest regret, and it's the reason why in the rest of her life she was always fighting and like trying to be in control and all of that. In the end though, she says she's happy because all the things she did in life brought her to Nadia. She got to see her as like a grown woman. She got to get to know her a little bit. And now she just wants Nadia to let her go. She doesn't want to waste any more of Nadia's time or take up any more of her time. She just wants it to be over. Nadia is angry instead of being understanding. And she says, fine, if that's what Catherine wants to do, it is what it is. But she's not going to sit with her and watch her die. She's leaving. Catherine goes through with the injection and closes her eyes and goes to sleep. Back to Klaus and Caroline. He's like, I'll leave. I won't gloat over Catherine's dying body if I can have your confession. Caroline is like, my guy, I haven't done anything. What am I going to confess to? He's like, me. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. He continues with, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to leave and I'm never going to come back. You won't have to look at me again. You won't have to pretend that you don't care about me anymore. You won't have to cover up like this thing, this connection we have between us with hostility. You'll be free. I just want you to tell me the truth. She's like, bro, I'm in college. I'm building a life for myself. I have all these plans and none of them have anything to do with you. He's like, oh, okay, I see. All right, I misread the room. I got it wrong. My bad. He goes to leave and she's like, no, you don't see. If you really promise to leave and never come back, I will be honest with you. He gets all somber and he's like, I will walk away and I will never look back. I promise. He's standing here and she steps up into his space and she's like, good. And then she kisses him. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm so unwell. Oh my God. And then they hook up in the forest. They like vamp around to all the different trees, like making out against all the trees. Clothes are coming off. It's everything to me. This is all we get. This is the most Caroline you're ever gonna see. It's everything to me. It's everything to me. It could have been more. It's everything to me. No notes. It's perfect. Damon wakes up on the floor in the bedroom because remember Nadia broke his neck and just left him in the floor. So he wakes up and he's like, Stefan, I'm done. I'm over this. You can take care of Catherine now. I had my fun. And he leaves. She thinks initially that she's hallucinating Stefan and that Damon's just messing with her. But he's like, no, it's really me. Close your eyes. I just came to say goodbye to you. She's like, I want to be looking at you. I want to see you. And he says, you will. And then they go into her memories together. So they go back to the dead family memory, and she's kind of crying. She says that Damon said it was her fault, that all the bad things that ever happened to her were like her fault. She deserved all of them, blah, blah, blah. Stefan starts like cleaning away the dead bodies. Like he makes them disappear, and then he like cleans up the blood. So she's just looking at like her childhood room. And he says she was a 17-year-old girl and none of the stuff that happened to her was her fault. She deserves to be loved and she deserves to find peace. Then he does something really freaking sweet. We hear like a baby crying and she turns and there's a cradle and Nadia's in the cradle. And when she reaches in to get Nadia and like pick her up and have time with like baby Nadia, there's like a light and we can assume that Catherine's like passing over. Stefan kisses her on the forehead, and then Elena comes in and is like, is she gone? And Stefan's like, not yet, but with the drugs, she's not gonna wake up again. We cut to Stefan and Damon on the roof watching the stars, and they're drinking and talking, and Stefan is basically like, you're making a huge mistake. Like, you never should have broken up with Elena. And Damon's like, yes, I know. He ends up agreeing to go after Elena again, even though he's making the self-deprecating jokes where he's just like, I guess I'll get in the way of the prophecy. Like, if you really want me to stand in the way of fate, fine, I guess I'll do it. Which, it's just not true, because Catherine and Stefan were the doppelgangers together, okay? Elena is not with Stefan. We'll get to that, okay? It's a really cute moment of the two of them just being bros on the roof, and you can kind of imagine them having done that multiple times throughout their like decades-long life. Caroline comes back inside from sleeping with Klaus. Everybody's like, where did you go? And she's like, oh, I was in the woods. I got lost. Bonnie, Matt, and Jeremy are all in the living room waiting for Catherine to die, so now Caroline joins them. They're talking about how Bonnie's gonna know the moment that Catherine dies because Catherine's gonna have to go through Bonnie since Bonnie's the anchor. Matt's like, so do you see them like all the time? Like the way Jeremy can? And she's like, yes. I just don't talk about it because like, you know. And then from behind her, Vicky is like, it's weird, Matt, okay? It's weird. So yes, Vicky pops up and she tells Bonnie to tell Matt that she loves him and she watches over him. And he needs to quit hooking up with Rebecca. Tyler shows up. He says that Rebecca brought him as like a parting gift. We can also assume that Klaus isn't hunting him / isn't going to kill him at this point. This is when Alaric shows up. It's so cute. Jeremy can see him and he's like, dude, I thought you were gone. I thought you went and like found the light or whatever. Where have you been? And Rick is like, what? You thought I was gonna leave Damon in charge and just not come back and check on you guys? They all start to like laugh and Damon's like, he's talking about me, isn't he? Where is he? Where's he at? Damon and Alaric end up like cheersing each other because, you know, they're bonded alcoholics and it's so cute. The cute moment is ruined by Catherine showing up and looking at Bonnie and being like, no, it's too soon. And then like forcing herself to like jolt awake in the bed. Elena is sitting there with her alone like a fucking idiot. Catherine says she has unfinished business and Elena says, yeah, so do I. I was actually about to tell you that yes, you're a bitch and you're terrible and I hate you, but also I forgive you. Because like, yeah, you did some pretty terrible things, but you weren't born evil. Life made you that way. Catherine's shitty about it because of course she is. She doesn't know how to be nice. And Elena is like, you know, you don't have to accept it. I don't care. I just wanted to say it because I don't want to lose that part of myself. And Catherine's like, give me more drugs. Elena agrees and goes to get the last injection and give it to her. Catherine stops her and says, thank you. And Elena is like, you're welcome. And it's a really sweet moment. That moment is obliterated by Catherine surging up from the bed with her last little bout of strength, grabbing Elena and doing the body switching spell on her. So Catherine's body dies, and then Elena wakes up to her phone ringing. She answers it, and she's like, hello? The traveler on the other end of the line with Nadia says the code word, and freaking Catherine wakes up in Elena's body. That was the plan all along. That's what Catherine was waiting for. It was all a show. Yay! Who saw that coming? Who's excited? I'm so happy. This isn't my least favorite arc in the show or anything. I can't wait. Okay, so we open episode 12 with Elena and Matt. Anytime I say Elena now, I'm talking about Catherine. She rips off his vervain bracelet and then tells him what's happened. So she's like, I'm actually Catherine, I'm in Elena's body, and I need you to be a good best friend and tell me everything you know about her. Nadia ends up stepping in because Matt is like kind of fighting back a little bit, and she's like, just compel him already, don't drag this out. And Catherine's like, fine, if you don't want me to have any fun. The travelers have told Nadia that they need Catherine's body. They keep calling it a corpse, and Catherine hates it. She thinks it sounds really gross and terrible, and she wants to know why. Nadia doesn't have a reason for her. She just says they need it. They have to chain Catherine up in the hotel room that they're using because they don't know when Elena's gonna pop up again. So they're like, you have to be left here, you have to stay safe, and then Nadia is planning on going and getting Catherine's body from the boys. They have to kind of just do whatever the travelers want at this point, because if they don't, then there's a chance that they won't help them make the spell putting Catherine inside Elena permanent. Nadia goes to get Catherine's body from the boys, but Damon already took it and he won't tell anybody where he put it. Tyler is back now and he's staying with Matt. He won't really go into specifics about what happened in New Orleans, but he says that Klaus was really horrible to him. It was a really bad experience. And he's just glad it's over because now he wants a fresh start. And he is planning on trying to get back together with Caroline. Matt is like, I got your fresh start, bro. Let's throw a welcome back party. Meanwhile, Caroline is back at the college dorm stress cleaning the suite, all right? I'm talking she's scrubbing the fireplace. Aaron comes to see Elena and then ends up giving Caroline the message that he was able to get his trust like fully moved over to himself. So now Whitmore is not getting any more funding from him, so Augustine's gonna get shut down. And also, he would like Elena to know that he's really sorry about everything. But then Aaron goes back to his room and Enzo is there waiting for him. Stefan calls Caroline and he's like, look, Damon's in a funk because he's trying to get up with Elena and she won't answer the phone. So how are they gonna get back together if they don't talk to each other? Can you please tell her to call him back? Caroline is like, no, I will not be doing that. He's trash and she deserves better. Also, she's not here. I thought she was with you. Alarm bells start going off for both of them. Catherine is still at the hotel chained up. And then Elena pops into view. We hear like some voices. Blink, eyes black, blink, different human, okay? So Elena's out and she's like, what is going on? Her phone is across the room ringing. So she breaks out and she wastes precious time by like breaking the chains. And then instead of just getting up with the chains like on the little manacle, like still on her, she takes the freaking time to like break all of them. So she's like fully free. And then by the time she gets to the phone and goes to answer it, Nadia is there and Nadia's just like think and like flicks the phone out of her hand and recaptures her. Damon comes home and finds Enzo in his living room waiting for him. Enzo's like, what's up, dude? I thought I would return the favor. You know, you said we were even and I realized we weren't yet, but we could be. So he unzips a body bag and shows him the very injured body of Aaron Whitmore. And he's like, here you go. Am I gonna kill him or are you? Catherine shows up to the party dressed as Elena and pretending to be her. That scene from the beginning, the like opening scene of her and Matt, that was actually from Now. For some reason they just show it to us twice. I don't know, it's silly, it doesn't make any sense. It is what it is. So once Matt lets her inside and she's like, okay, remember, you think I'm Elena, get out of here. And he's like, right, I think you're Elena, because he's under compulsion. He leaves her alone and she goes straight to Stefan. He's like, where have you been? We've all been looking for you. And she's like, oh my God, I've been so sad. Like, I've just been like processing what happened with Damon. And Stefan's like, oh yeah, that does suck. So you're gonna like get back together with him, right? Because like, I think you should do that. Like, I think you make him a better person and you're clearly really happy with him. And I know it's probably weird hearing this from me, but like, I think you guys should be together. She like bypasses that and she's like, look, enough about me. How are you doing now that Catherine's gone? And he's like, oh, I'm fine. And she's like, Stefan, You don't have to lie to me. Like, tell me how you really feel. And he's like, I really feel fine. She absolutely breaks Elena character and like pushes and is like, I guess I just expected you to be like a little heartbroken or something. Like, I thought you'd be a little bit more upset than this. She says that she even feels bad and she hated Catherine and they should at least give her a funeral. He says is like, yeah, even if I agreed with you, you know, I don't know where Damon took her. He just keeps telling us she's where she was meant to be. Enzo's pretty confused on why Damon isn't happy and excited to have the last Whitmore. He's like, why don't you want to kill him? What do you mean? And Damon is trying to explain, I can't kill him. He's friends with Elena. And then Aaron wakes up and is like, that's right. I am friends with Elena. So if you kill me, she'll be devastated. Except he's like swaying on his feet and like very much close to death because Enzo drank from him. So he's not doing great, our boy Aaron. Enzo is like, Damon, if you don't kill him, I'm gonna kill him and I'm gonna make it hurt. So make your decision before I make mine. And Damon's like, ugh. And then he snaps Enzo's neck and like drops Enzo on the couch. And Aaron's like, wow, I did not see that coming. And Damon is like, get out of town. I want you to go back to college. I want you to pack up your life. I want you to get into your vehicle and I want you to drive until you hit the other coast. Do you understand me? And Aaron's like, yes, sir, I do. And Aaron leaves. Catherine tells Nadia that she's pretty sure Damon was a petty little bitch and took her body to the church tomb. Caroline ends up running into Catherine at the party. Obviously, she thinks it's Elena. So she's like, Elena, I've been trying to get you alone. I have to tell you something. I did something really bad. And Catherine's like, what'd you do, Caroline? You're literally the most perfect vampire ever. It couldn't have been that bad. And Caroline's like, no, it was really bad. Like really, really bad. You're not gonna believe it. Catherine's like, tell me, what did you do? And Caroline's like, well, I ran into Klaus in the woods and I ended up kissing him. And then I liked kissing him so much that we had sex in the woods. And Catherine's like, you did what? You, with Klaus in the woods? And Caroline's like, I know. That's what I told you it was bad. And then Catherine looks above Caroline and sees Tyler coming down the stairs. And she's like, oh my God. Caroline, Tyler's back. And Tyler hears them say his name and he turns around, he's listening now. And Catherine just keeps going. She's like, you are really crazy, Caroline. Tyler's back in town and you're sleeping with Klaus? Like, you have to give me all the details. And then Catherine goes, oh my God. And Caroline turns around and obviously Tyler heard everything and he is not handling it well. So Catherine's just like, haha, and she like slips away while Caroline and Tyler stare at each other with like deep sadness running between them. The Traveler Witch is waiting in the tomb under the church with like a lot of candles. Okay, she's got Catherine's body. She starts doing the spell that will like permanently put Catherine into Elena and make it like official. For whatever reason, it brings Elena forward and Elena is like, where am I? What's going on? But she fakes it and Nadia doesn't realize what happened. Caroline goes after Tyler and she tries to explain herself. It's not working, okay? And in his defense, if nothing else, Klaus killed his mom, okay? In cold blood. There wasn't even like a reason for him killing her, okay? He was just being a jerk. I don't know how we come back from that. I don't think we do. And he's pretty much just like, this is an unforgivable offense, Caroline. Like, we're done. We're so completely done. Caroline doesn't see it that way. So she tries to force him to talk to her. And he ends up, like, at this point, he's asked her to leave multiple times. And he, like, rounds on her with his werewolf face. That's getting better and better as the show goes on. Okay, this time it's, like, seamless when it comes out. And he's like, get out! And it's, like, fangs and the eyes and everything. Stefan comes running in and is like, don't threaten her with your werewolf venom. What's wrong with you? We don't do that. We're friends. And Tyler's like, oh, you don't know what happened. She freaking screwed Klaus. So Stefan like wheels around and looks at her and is like, girl, you did not tell me that. I didn't know. And Caroline is like sick to her stomach, like ready to throw up. And she like slinks away because she's horrified. And Tyler's like, exactly. Yeah. And he like puffs up. And Stefan just turns around and punches Tyler in the face. And he's like, I don't care what she did. She doesn't deserve that. In the tomb under the church, Elena finally takes her chance and attacks the witch. So she just like knocks the witch out. And then when Nadia is like, Elena, oh no, and goes to attack her, Elena gets the upper hand. She stabs Nadia. Now look, show of hands. Who thinks that before leaving that tomb, where these two people connected to Catherine were trying to force Catherine into Elena's head permanently? Do you think Elena kills one or both of them? Or do you think she just runs away, leaving them injured but alive inside the cave? Yeah, that's right. She just freaking runs. Because that makes sense. You didn't have time. You didn't have time to make sure you got Nadia in the heart. You didn't have time to snap the witch's neck instead of just like knocking her head against the wall. Like, are you serious? So they wake up and Nadia's like, finish the spell. And they start the spell again. Elena's running away through the woods and she tries to use her phone. And wouldn't you know it, Catherine put a lock on it. All of Catherine's memories start like swarming in Elena's mind. The witch starts burning Catherine's body. That's like how the spell becomes complete. Elena's running and running and running and calling for help, but no one is coming and the memories are slowing her down. She makes it to Damon and they crash into each other and she's like, oh my God, Damon, thank God. And before she can tell him what happens, the spell is completed and her eyes go closed, black, closed. She's Catherine. So he pulls back and he's like, oh my God, say something please. Because remember, he's been looking for her all day. She says, I've got something I need to tell you. He starts apologizing and he's like, I shouldn't have done what I did. It was so stupid to push you away. Like, I can't change you. I can't make you a different person. Like, that's giving me too much credit and you not enough. He says that she's the best person he's ever known and she's such a good influence on him and she's the good. And he has all this darkness in his life, but she's the good. She pulls away and she's like, Damon, that's so much pressure. Oh my God. And he's like, I know. Like, I'm not putting it all on you. I'm just saying that I know that that's what you are for me. And so I want to be better for you. But because it's Catherine, she's like, I don't want to be worried about your temper and these tantrums, and I don't want to be the only thing you live for. Like, I can't do that anymore. She slips up and is like, I know what you did to Catherine, Damon. Like, you get angry and you hurt people. And he's like, what does Catherine have to do with this? And she has to be like, no, nothing. This is about me and you. She basically insists that their relationship is over and she doesn't want anything to do with him. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm done, I'm leaving. And she just walks away, and as she turns around, she's smiling, and our boy is broken into a million little pieces, okay? And what makes me really sad about this whole situation is that Elena was sprinting through the trees, okay? She was running. She sees Damon. She starts yelling for him and she runs to him. They crash into each other in this big hug. And she's like, Damon, thank God, I was looking for you. So she is like desperate and excited to see him. And he is so clouded by the fact that they broke up and that she doesn't want him anymore, that he like doesn't remember that first part, okay? So he just like negates the hug, negates the panic that had been on her face, and he's just like, dang, she left me again, and he's so sad. Stefan is there watching, and he's also sad and broken. He is so confused. We got one more sad and broken boy, and it is Tyler freaking Lockwood, okay? Matt finds him, he's drunk, and he's alone, and he's moping. Matt suggests that they leave for a little while. He's like, why don't we just go somewhere? Because now, after his summer with Rebecca, Matt's a little bit more carefree and wild, and he's just like, let's just go. Let's just get out of here and go somewhere else for a little while. Tyler is like, I just hope I'm done with Klaus because he ruined me in New Orleans. And then that wasn't enough. He had to come back here and sleep with Caroline. And it's just like the final nail in the coffin. Like, Klaus has officially just like taken and touched everything in Tyler's life that was like good. Tyler starts crying and Matt's just sitting there with him on the couch, like patting his back. Nadia and Catherine kill the traveler witch. Her name is Mia. I don't think we've talked about what her name was. Her name was Mia. Catherine kills her because she was a loose end and she doesn't like owing people favors. Nadia is like, all right, Mom, let's go. We're gonna go out on the road. We're gonna run away together. And Catherine is like, actually, no, I'm staying. She's finally not running. She's not in any danger. And inside Elena's body, she has the life she's always wanted. Like, everybody loves her. Everybody would die for her. She's popular. Like, she's gonna stay and live it up and try to get back together with Stefan. She's like, why don't you also stay and we can have like mother-daughter bonding time? Like, I'm not promising I'm gonna be a great mom, but I would like to try. Nadia agrees. So we're keeping her for at least a little while longer. Caroline is waiting at the house for Stefan when he gets home, and he's like, I have been looking all over for you. Where did you go? And she says that she couldn't find a hole big enough to crawl into. And she's like, can you just tell me the truth? Can you just tell me if I'm a horrible person? He points out that he hooked up with Catherine, and he's like, how did you feel about that, Caroline? And she's like, honestly, my first thought was, ew. And he's like, okay. And did you hold it against me? No. So why would I hold it against you? Then he starts telling her in like a teasing way that she actually is pretty terrible though. She's like the worst friend ever. She's so not dependable and she's not loyal in any way. And she's just like gross and awful, and it makes her laugh, and then they end up bonding. Again, these two, very cute as friends. And I agree with him, except where Tyler's concerned, because again, Klaus killed Tyler's mom. I don't think Tyler will ever forgive her, and I'm not upset with him about that. He deserves that anger. Aaron is driving out of town. Remember how Damon told him to drive and never come back? He's doing that. He followed directions. He stops, however, because there is a man laying in the middle of the road. Yeah. It's Enzo, and he pops up and he's like, hey, what's up, Aaron? We've been waiting for you. Damon shows up behind Aaron, like leaning against the car. Aaron's like, Damon, what are you doing? You told me to leave. Enzo's like, oh, Damon's here because he's teaching me a new game. And Damon is like, yeah, Elena left me, so now I don't have a reason to not kill you anymore, Aaron. Sorry. Yeah, so now that Elena doesn't care about him anymore, Damon just like jumped right off the deep end. Our sweet boy is so far gone, okay? And he's been replaced with crazy angry murder Damon. So we get to have him for a little while. Our murder son is back. Yay. He says that Elena is done with him. She finally realized he's a monster, and you know what? She's right. And then he attacks and kills Aaron. Enzo is just frothing at the mouth. He's like, there's the Damon Salvatore I remember, and he's so excited to have his buddy back. He can't wait. We cut to black. I know. I'm just as emotionally upset as you are. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. There should be a nice little fancy watermark floating around right here. It might be over here. I don't know yet. It is in one of these two locations. I'm here every Monday talking about Once Upon a Time, and every Friday talking about the Vampire Diaries. Just as a disclaimer for anybody new to the channel, I am getting married next month. My head's gonna explode. So there may be a couple weeks as we move into the early fall that it's just one video, but I'm doing my best to get 2 out as much as possible. Can't wait to talk to you guys down below. Let me know if you got anything fun going on for the weekend, and I will see you so soon. Have a good one. Bye.